Hey world, the following is a conversation with the one, the only Christian Anderaos. Christian is born and raised in Brazil and found himself moving to play soccer for our University of Kansas City Kangaroos. He would then deal with what he describes as the darkest moments of his life. Fast forward to a couple years, Christian found himself signing a contract to play for our indoor soccer team, the Kansas City Comets. A dream come true for Christian. We discussed all these topics, his unique hairstyles, starting Playmaker Academy, to his excitement for the World Cup in Kansas City. Thank you, Christian, for all you do for our community and the game of soccer as a whole. This is Enterrupt KC. Enjoy this episode.
Welcome back to Enterrupt KC, the podcast dedicated to people, places, and things right here in Kansas City. My man JL,
What is up?
D-Rod, man, I'm right here, man.
D-Rod, JL,
Yeah, man,
Enterrupt
yeah.
KC,
Man,
you know
here we
what
are,
it is.
man.
Love it, man. The podcast. The podcast for Kansas City.
That's right.
Hey, man, so giving it some thought, man. Number one, want to give a shout out to Cupinis, because that's where we are today.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to our boy Eddie. If you've not seen that episode, go check it out.
Oh, man.
Episode 41, Eddie Cupini. We talk about him, his father, Chef Franco Cupini, and here at the restaurant, man,
And their
their
food,
journey.
and their food, man.
The food, incredible.
Even
incredible
better,
stuff.
check out the episode and come up here and support this restaurant, man. They got incredible Italian food.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And the other thing I wanted to say just real quick, man, tonight we have an incredible guest. We have some really, really incredible guests coming up, man. And you know, it's been a busy podcast for us lately, man. It's been a busy podcast.
It's been in motion, man. It's been in motion, you know. Great things coming, man. I mean, we've said it before.
Yes,
you know?
sir, man. Yes, sir. So like, follow, share, subscribe. If you haven't already, I promise you're about to love this conversation we're getting ready to have with this individual, D-Rod.
That's right. That's right. I wanted to, man, I wanted to take one more minute to give a shout out, man. Over this past weekend, we had guest Marco Tiburon Romero, man, episode 36.
Yes, sir.
He's a professional boxer, man, and he won his
5-0.
bout. He won his bout over the weekend, man. So
shout out Marco,
hey,
man. Shout out Marco,
applaud
man.
you, brother. Keep on knocking them out.
We got to come up with like an Enterrupt KC, like high five or
something, man. Something.
Salute. You know what?
Salute,
you know what
man.
that is, D-Rod. That's a
salute, man. Marco, that's to you, brother. Knocking
man.
them out, right? Here we go. Putting KC on the map, baby.
Yes, sir, man. But with that, D-Rod, I think it's time to interrupt our guest.
Let's do it.
And by interrupt, y'all know we mean introduce our guest. None other than, now, let me take a deep breath, because I read the Tasmanian, you know, tornado. I mean, however you want to go about it, this man,
a beast,
incredible beast, man. For the KC Comets, owner of Playmaker Soccer, Christian Anderaos. How we doing, brother?
What's up, man?
Doing good, guys. Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited. I guess I've been on the behind the scenes before, watching my wife doing this, so now it feels really good to be in the chair and talking to you guys. It's an honor. So.
That's right, man. That's right.
Bro.
That was Dulcinea, man.
Shout out Dulcinea, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Christian, the honor is ours, brother, man.
100%.
Really appreciate your time, bro, today. Appreciate your energy, bro. You walked in, you was like, what's up, fellas? It's like, let's go. Got that haircut, bro. I can't wait to talk about all that.
We're going to get into all that, man.
Cannot wait to talk about all
Absolutely.
that. But, Christian, man, part of what we're about, bro, Enterrupt KC, man. We're about grabbing that story, man, of our guests, man. Talk about this journey, bro, because, you know, the little we've learned about you, right?
Yeah.
You're a soccer player from Brazil, right?
That's right.
I mean, but you're a UMKC alum, bro. Like,
That's right.
Kansas City needs to know Christian at a deeper level, bro.
Yeah.
So where'd this begin, man? Talk about the beginnings, bro.
Absolutely. Yeah, I honestly love Kansas City. I think I feel really at home here. You know, I've been here. It's about to be 8 years. So I first came to America in 2017. I came as a student. So I lived my entire life in Brazil from when I was born until I was 21. And, it was a crazy time. Now, if we talk about that.
How old were you, bro? Like 2017, how old was Christian, bro?
Yeah, so Christian was really skinny. And it was actually interesting because I really wanted to come to America. And one of the coaches, when he saw me on the call, he was like, "You're too skinny to be here.
No way.
Wow.
This is too much of a physical game. I know you have talent. I know you have the technique, but right here, you got to be stronger." So it took me like a couple months. I actually made a little play with myself. I let my hair grow on the back until I reached a certain like weight. And then once I reached it, I cut my hair.
Okay.
So anyways, by the time I got here to Kansas City, I was, man, how can I say it? The university in Brazil teaches you a lot, and I started college there. My college there is a top 100 college in the world. It has 97,000 students. It's absolutely massive. Yes,
And
massive.
That's a
in
city,
Brazil.
bro.
Yeah, so it's actually a city campus. We have our own hospital and everything.
Wow.
So, and I think about it, right? Like, I'm in one of the biggest cities in the world, living life as a young man.
Let's go, yeah.
When I came here to Kansas City, people thought that I was very wild. They were like, "What is going on with this guy?" Right? I was the type of guy that I would like get home like late, and I would wake up really early. So I'm probably sleeping 5 hours a night, but just because I wanted to live life at the fullest.
Right.
Yeah. Well, young, man. You're young.
Exactly. You have the energy, you know?
Well, I mean, Christian, but before like you coming to, you grew up playing soccer, I
That's
assume,
right,
right?
that's
I mean,
right.
how old were you when you first started playing, bro?
Yeah, so in Brazil, we have a saying that as soon as you're born, they give you a soccer ball.
Soccer ball? Let's go.
And so that wasn't any different with me. As soon as I was born, I started playing soccer. My first clothes was actually from this team that I support, which is Palmeiras.
Okay.
I'm a Palmeiras fan. And, since then I started playing. I think
Yeah.
my first time playing, like, for a soccer academy was when
Yeah.
I was like 4.
Okay.
And then I just went from there,
Gotcha,
always
gotcha.
playing soccer and doing other sports, but soccer was my love.
Yeah.
So mainly like what brought me here was I was playing in college in Brazil, and we played the nationals and all that, and I got named player of the year. And so that opened the eyes for UMKC.
Right.
And at the time, UMKC had a coach that he was also from Brazil, and he also went to the same university I went back home. His name is Tato Chiaparo. He's actually one of the biggest names for the soccer community here in Kansas City. And him and Rick Bemben, which was the coach at the time, they recruited me. They offered me a full scholarship. And so I was able to, keep studying at the same time of playing at a high level, which was
Right.
exactly what I wanted. UMKC is a Division I school for the NCAA. So, it was, it checked
Big
every
opportunity.
dot.
Yeah,
exactly.
Big opportunity. So becoming National Player of the Year, right? That's what you said?
Yeah, I became player of the year. That's
Player
right.
of the Year, I mean, in Brazil, bro.
Yeah, that was.
I
yeah.
mean, that's incredible, man.
I had a great year that year.
Yeah, so UMKC, was there other schools? Was there other opportunities that you could have went to that you think about maybe?
Yeah, no, those are great questions. So the main thing about it was my eligibility, right? So I only had 2 years to play, and that's the 2 years that I played at UMKC. I had other offers from NIA and Division II schools and things like that. But, I really wanted Division I, and I think having like a Brazilian coach already at the time made things easier. He wasn't, he was a graduate assistant coach at the time, but he turned to be assistant coach.
Right.
So yeah, it just gave me the confidence also because it was a personal connection that I ended up having. So yeah,
That had to matter,
that
bro.
had to, yeah,
It had to matter,
It'd
bro.
make it more easier for you,
Way
right?
easier.
To click with them, the
I
conversations.
mean, any language
man.
barrier,
Ooh,
anything.
Yeah, that was the other part too. You know,
Yeah.
like I remember when fun fact. Okay, you asked me about like my personality when I got here, right? My very first night, I got here on a Friday. I went out. Of course, like we were just got in here.
yeah,
We just
yeah.
got in
Young
here.
man,
So
what's going
yeah,
on?
that's what's
Yeah.
going on. I'm already 21. Let's go out. I go to a bar. It was actually here in Westport, and I noticed that things were a little different, right? So the songs, of course, people interacting, but there was a point that really was bugging me, and I was like, guys, what's happening? Is there something wrong here tonight?
Yeah.
And they were like, why? Well, what's wrong? I was like, why are people not making out? Like in Brazil, everybody makes out.
Yeah.
You go to
It's affectionate,
play- Exactly.
yeah.
Like we hug, we touch, we make out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was, I was really young, so I was like, I'm looking forward for that moment, you know. So
You're like, yeah, I want to go make out with her. I want to go make out with her.
But you know, eventually time went by, and nowadays I'm a married man, and I'm really happy to be. Things changed, but that was exactly how I got here. I think I worked really hard on everything I did. I worked hard on going out. I worked hard at the jobs that I had. I worked out practicing. And then eventually you start learning your discipline. During season, you don't really go out as often, right? So I think one of the main things that I loved about coming to UMKC is that I learned how to live an adult life while I was still being a little younger. And so it kind of taught me the discipline to wake up early, go to practice, and then after that go to work, and then after work go to class, you know, and trying to keep up with everything.
What was the toughest thing, Christian, man? Because I mean, bro, you're not like, you didn't move from like state to state. You moved from a whole different continent, you know, to North America, Kansas City.
I mean, JL, have you seen the people in Brazil? Like, man, they're beautiful. Beautiful people.
I know.
Man.
There's that too.
I mean,
but I'm just saying, like, as a young man, bro, you know, you got a family, right? You left behind, and all those things, man. Can you talk about that? How that transition was for you?
And actually, I think the main challenge, and I'll say that was trying to go like pass by my mom, right? So my mom, when she was like, no, why are you going there? You know, you're at a top university here. Everybody in the world knows that this is a top high-level university.
Right.
Why are you wanting to go somewhere else if you have a life already figured out here, right? And I was about to graduate. I was like in my last year and stuff. But, you know, my dad always kind of motivated me to, like, go away like from your comfort zone, you know,
challenge yourself.
That's right. And I for an example, right, I played in Europe for 8 consecutive years in a row, and my dad was my coach at the time, and I played in places like Sweden, Finland, Norway, so Spain. You know, my family was kind of used to having me, you know, travel and away. And I think I just told my mom, I was like, Mom, I loved every time I traveled for soccer and loved exploring other cultures. And I think that now I can do it following my dream, which is like playing at the highest level I possibly can right now at college, at the same time of getting my degree, you know. And then I think once I got here, I think the culture was challenging. And once again, right, everybody's saying hi to me, extending hands, and I'm giving hugs, and people are kind of like personal space is a thing, you know. And then, of course, going to classes or even like just interacting with my teammates. I remember, you know, we would go to the cafeteria, they would make jokes, and I would laugh with them, but I would always feel like embarrassed when they would be like, "Why are we laughing about?" And I would be like, I honestly have no idea, but it sounds really fun. I'm just going to laugh with you guys, you know? So I think it was a little challenging at first to understand how different I was from everybody else.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
I mean, you talked about coming here, obviously soccer, but then you mentioned, I mean, you had to study something too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So did you have some intention with what you were going to study and why you were going to study it? Can you talk about that a little bit, what that intention was?
So, you know, I was always the shortest and the skinniest, right? So, and that was like my
probably
whole
one
life,
of the best looking too. Come on, just tell it for what it is. Come on, Christian.
I appreciate that. You know, I did modeling growing up, and that was something fun for sure. But you know, I think there was a certain point in my life that I just was tired of being, you know, knocked out when I'm playing and things like that, and I knew that growing up wasn't really gonna be my thing.
Right.
And then I had an injury that kind of like I had to step back. And so the main point about the reason I'm saying that, and I think at the time I was 17, 18, was I really wanted to go into sports science. I was like, I have to learn something about the body that can not just fix my injury, but can make me faster, can make me stronger. And you know, funny part is nowadays I am known because of my condition, and that's where the Tasmanian Devil, where it came from. That's where it came from, because I'm just that guy that can run the entire field, that can, you know, sprint, that can battle, that, you know, looks for body contact. So I think once I decided that I wanted to go to sports science, I started falling in love with anatomy classes, you know, biochemistry, physiology, and those, I just started really getting excited with it. And so when I got my degree here, I got it in health sciences with a minor in exercise science. I went to my master's too eventually later on my career here. But I think I just really fell in love with like how the body moves,
Yeah, how
and
the
that
body works, yeah.
exactly, and that also led me to the main part, which right now it's a Playmaker Soccer Academy, right, that I own, that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And then I just try to learn how I could not just train myself, but then now I'm starting training others. How can I help, the youth? How can I help the other people around me to also achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve?
Yeah.
So,
Beautiful, bro. Beautiful.
I want to back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, because you left Brazil.
That's right.
You left your family.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about your family a little bit. You said mom
Yes.
and pops, right? Mom and dad.
That's right.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, no. So actually, I'm an only child.
Okay.
My parents are divorced. But like funny part, during my week was chaotic. I was on Monday and Tuesday with my dad, Wednesday, Thursday with my mom, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, one time with my dad, the following week with my mom. Right. So growing up, I always had to be really organized, because if you forget something at one house, you're gonna, you
I was
might as well
gonna say,
forget it,
that's
man.
a true shared custody right there, man. We're gonna share this kid.
And so, but yeah, no, I have a lot of support from my family. So I have my cousins here they came to visit me. My godfather came to visit me. My aunt came to visit me. My grandparents. And so,
did anybody stay?
yeah, no, nobody.
Yeah.
Not yet.
They're like, nah.
I don't know how Trump would feel about that either, but right now
yeah.
it's just me. And I do constantly have them visiting. I actually have my dad and my godmother visiting me right now.
Oh, they're here in town.
She's 87. In the past game that we played, I scored a goal for her, and it was a very
beautiful.
emotional
Oh,
moment.
man, that's
so
awesome.
Wow.
yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
blessed to have lived that moment. But yeah, family for sure is. I think that's one of the challenges that, like, after a couple of years, I started facing the most was
Missing.
dealing with the moment that I'm missing the people that took care of me my entire life.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
Rough,
spending
man.
those valuable times for me is it's hurtful. So
I mean, I think it's beautiful that your family comes up here to support you,
yes,
bro.
yes,
Yeah,
I
I'm very
mean,
appreciative.
honestly,
man.
you go back home, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I try to go as much as possible. Dulcinea the last time went with me. My wife and I, we had a little trip there, and it was awesome. But yeah, we always try to like balance it out. I go,
Right.
sometimes they come and things like that. So,
Nice, bro. So you're playing at UMKC now, bro. Like,
Yes.
talk about that experience, man. Now you're playing American football in college. I mean, we talked about this with Eddie Cupini because he's a former soccer player, semi-pro. And I was telling him how when we watch, everybody's talking about the World Cup right now. Whenever we watch, like, international soccer, it's so different, bro. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like
The
the
passion,
passing,
the passion they have.
the passion,
for
but the passing and the celebrations and just everything is
shit,
just
even the anger when they
different,
get
bro.
mad.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, can you talk about that a little bit, man?
Yes.
What was that experience like in college?
Oh, I loved college, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was. I think it was everything was perfect, to be honest. Every time I look back, I just feel a huge feeling of gratitude, and it starts from the locker room. Like, both years at UMKC, I had people from all over the world, like
Right.
so many different nationalities. Like, I'm talking about 10 plus nationalities,
Yeah.
and so a place where, the ball is the same language for all of us. The rest, like, everything is different. One person is German, the other one is from Ecuador. I'm from Brazil, right? I have an American right next to me.
Right.
So we're all different in our traditions. We're different in our languages. But, playing at UMKC was beautiful because, it's a school that challenges you in class. And that was hard, too, because sometimes the professors were speaking really fast. I'm trying to get the notes. I don't really get it, right? And so I think UMKC offered me, beyond just the soccer. They offered me the whole life here. And I think the main reason why I'm still here at Kansas City is because the love for UMKC started with, like networking with my first job here in America was at UMKC. I worked at the campus recreation. I used to, like just clean the equipment at the gym, clean the floor. Then we would do like some, receptionist work, like welcoming people in. So, I think they just offered me every single tool I needed.
Right.
And I will say, I think my highlight there, I have so many, but I think one of the main things that I loved was I was offered the position of a teaching assistant at first. So for my minor in exercise science, because of my previous background,
Right.
they wanted me to, help some students during the classes academically, right? And then it got to a point where I was feeling so comfortable, and as soon as I graduated, they gave me the class, right? So then I started teaching.
Oh,
I
wow.
started making the
Yeah.
test. I started grading the test. I started giving them homeworks and things like that. So that was probably one of the moments that I would never think I would, teach in college.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I got to that point. So for me, I think at UMKC, I can give you a million examples of all the different things that I did, and I'm beyond grateful because it all started with soccer.
Do
So,
you ever, Christian? Do you ever? I mean, I'm sure you have people reach out to you a lot to maybe talk to, mentor, just conversate even with somebody who's a Christian today, coming
Yes.
from another country, maybe even South America, right? Do you ever do anything like that with people?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, all the time,
Yeah.
to be honest. Even like a few of the people that are, helping with Playmaker, they went through the same background too. So it's not just me. There's a community of us here, of
Okay.
people that had, similar backgrounds. But, with me, yes, all the time. I
Yeah.
have messages, I have calls on a personal level. Sometimes somebody that knows my family or my friends, or also, somebody that just reaches out because they saw a post or because they saw me on, social media or something like that.
Gotcha.
And I always make sure to give them help. And the main reason why I say that is because there are messages that it takes me a year to reply, but I always make sure I reply. But the main reason I'm saying is because Tato Chiaparo, the guy that brought me here,
Yeah.
he did everything he could to help me be here. So then as soon as I started having the opportunity to help other people, which I've done, I can give you like 5 examples of
Sure.
people that I helped here. I started just really valuing that. Like nothing would have helped if I didn't have that first help. So
Right.
nowadays, like I was able to live my opportunity at my fullest, and nowadays I'm enjoying it, right? So
Yeah.
why not other people that are looking for the same thing?
Yeah,
So
you're giving it back, bro.
yes,
You're
absolutely,
giving it back, man.
absolutely. Got to give it back, man. And I think it's a great feeling because nowadays I can look back at some of the people that had asked for help before, and I see them thriving. I see them getting married right now. I see them, like getting the jobs that they wanted, and it's a great feeling of like, all right, like I was able to lead them into their success. So.
Yeah, for sure,
I,
man.
I gotta tell you this, man. So one of the things about there's 2 things in my mind that stick out about Brazil. One is the humongous Jesus statue,
Yeah.
right?
In Rio, yes.
I want to one day go see that.
Oh.
Like it just seems beautiful where it's located, how the sun rises and sets on it, all that, right?
Yes.
Seen so many videos and photos of it. That, D-Rod. The other thing, the movie City of God.
City of God,
Yeah, man,
yes.
yeah.
That movie, dude, every time I think about Brazil, that movie sticks out in my mind, bro.
Yes.
What a great movie, man.
Yeah, it was a great movie, man. I don't know why. I just had to say that. It's just like,
I mean, not to cut you off. I think about that too. I think I've watched that movie numerous times, and that's like real life people.
Yes,
right? That's
yes.
real life. But I'm sure sometimes that shit still happens.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I think about
yeah.
when I think about your country, Brazil, is they have that huge festival, right?
Yes.
That's like, isn't that like a week or 2 weeks? It
depends. It can get up to a month. It
Really?
just really depends on where you are.
Man,
Yes,
those
it's
people.
crazy.
Any of you guys who don't know, pull up the Brazil.
It's called
festival.
Carnaval. Carnaval.
Carnival.
Yes.
Carnival, yeah.
Okay.
But it's like, man, it's like
Is that where they wear
10
the
football?
headpieces?
Yeah.
We wear everything, and
It's
we
like-
also wear nothing at the same time. Like bodies out.
Yeah.
it's like it's massive. It's
Massive.
like 10 football fields or more.
Or more.
With bleachers up to. Have you seen it?
Yeah,
I don't
people
know
on
if
the
I have.
stands. Yeah,
Yeah,
So
man.
so I don't know if you know that, but that's a competition between communities, right?
Right.
So then let's say here in Kansas City, if Olathe had their community, they would showcase, they would have a story, they would create a rhythm based on the story that they want. And
Outfits and stuff.
Yeah, let's
Music,
say
dance.
Yeah, exactly. And so everything has to align with their main topic. Let's say they're talking about the Mexican independence. All right, they're going to talk about everything about Mexico, right?
Right.
And then you go, Overland Park is next. Okay, Overland Park is going to bring the Native American traditions, and so it's a competition between communities, and it's just beautiful because the stands are packed. The cars that come in, they are beautiful, and they have all these details, people dancing on top, and they have all this technology. And this is one part of the carnival. The other part of the carnival are on the streets, which is like millions of people following these trucks with like loudest noise ever, just playing music, and we're all dancing in behind and just like enjoying the vibes. So
I like the part, Chris, when you said that there's people that are dressed but not dressed.
That's very right.
Right? I mean, that'd be dope, man.
Well,
dope.
Brazil has quite the reputation
Oh,
for
it
beautiful
does.
people. Let's
I mean,
just
you
say
see
that.
volleyball team?
Come on. Come on. So, man, talk about the transition, Christian, from UMKC to the KC Comets, man. A lot of people know about the KC Comets, but a lot of people don't, man. And we'll get into some specifics about the game and all that, but your story in terms of the transition, bro.
Yeah, so, I think that now we're going to go into, I think, the darkest part of my life. As soon as I graduated from UMKC, I didn't really know what to do next. And I think that goes with everybody, right? When we graduate, we're like, all right, now what's next, right? Reality kind of hits. And, me as a foreigner, I wanted to stay. I loved Kansas City, and I was trying to look for ways to stay. And so my last year, I played in 2018 by December, and then 2019, I couldn't play anymore, but I was still in college because I was going to graduate in May. So I was invited to be the graduate assistant coach for the soccer team. So I got to coach the UMKC men's soccer team for a little bit. But the main reason why I mentioned the darkest moment was that's when I kind of gave up on soccer. I was like, well, it was beautiful. I'm grateful. If it wasn't for soccer, I wouldn't be here. But I don't think soccer is for me anymore.
Really? What was it, bro?
And I think it was just like lack of opportunities. Like I was able to be invited to some combines, to try to be drafted and things like that.
Right.
But I was always hitting the same wall, which was, do you have an European passport to go to Europe? No, I don't. Do you have an American passport? No, I don't. All right, so yeah, we have limitations and limited spots for internationals. We don't really know if we can invest in you. You're already almost 25, at that point, and things like that. So I was 24 actually at the moment. So you start facing a few challenges, and I kind of gave up, to be honest.
It's discouraging.
So it was super discouraging. So from 2019 to 2021. I learned a lot. I was working a lot. That's when I started doing my master's. Actually, was in the COVID year, which was 2020. So I basically waited almost a year to start my master's. I kind of I was just, I was lost.
And then there's
lost.
COVID on top of it.
And that's
right?
COVID on top.
Yeah.
That's right. And, I felt empty inside. And my dad, and I got to bring him back. My dad is in every single story I can bring right here, because that man changed my life in every single aspect. And he was always my soccer coach. And, the Comets had invited me before. But, I think I haven't really experienced much of that. So I was kind of scared that I would I don't really know if that makes sense for me right now. I'm coaching here at UMKC. Practices are at the same time. They are investing. They're paying for my master's too. And so, it got to a point where after almost 2 years, my dad had a call with me, and he's like, Christian, I've been feeling that you have not been the same, and I feel like there's something that died within you, and I think that that's soccer.
Yeah.
You told me that the Comets kind of reached out back to you again. Why don't you give it a chance to just at least try?
Yeah.
And at the time, 21, I was really skinny. At the time, I was really strong. I was a big bull. I was, just really bulked up, heavy, strong as heck. And I told my dad, I was like, Dad, it's almost 2 years now, what are we talking about here? Do you think? And he's like, Christian, I know that it's been 2 years, but you never stopped training. You kept training at the same intensity. I love training because, as I was saying, I love exercise science and things like that. Yeah. And I kept playing, at lower levels, but I kept playing semi-pro leagues and things like that. And, you know, I started going back and practice starts feeling nice. And I was like, actually, I can see something here if they give me an opportunity, you know. And I started going, I started working out, and I started falling in love again. And life started to make sense. And then I had a phone call. I'm starting to get really goosebumps right here. I started to, you know, talk to my dad back, and this was October. And I said, Dad, I think they're going to offer me a contract. And my dad was like, you know, started to cry, and we're both crying on the phone. I have this video actually still saved because it was a deep moment. And I was like, Dad, actually, I think we're gonna have to make a quick move. If I ever dreamed of signing a professional contract, I would love to do it with you by my side. And so at the time, I wasn't in the best financial conditions. Neither was my dad, but we figured out a way to bring him here. I helped with some part of it. He helped with the other part. We got him here. And the day that he got here, I received a call. They offered me the contract. I signed the contract with my dad. Dream realized, and it was just, you know, till today, I remember that moment as like just a big blessing coming my way. And life starting to make sense again. You know?
That's beautiful. Beautiful story.
And I think that the cherry on top of the cake for this story was after I signed the contract, we had a game that week, and it was my very first game for the Kansas City Comets. I had my dad in the stands, and I scored that game.
Wow!
And so it was amazing.
You couldn't even write that story better, Christian. That's about. You know what that is, D-Ron.
Oh my gosh!
You know what that is, Christian.
Yes.
You know what that is?
That's what's your dad's name, bro?
César.
Salud, man.
Saúde, pai. Te amo muito.
How you say, Saúl?
Saúde, pai. No, it was
It's a beautiful story,
man. You couldn't write a better story, bro.
That's beautiful.
I was thinking, man, as you were talking about that story, you know, you're talking to two men who we lost our dads, you know, many years ago now for both of us. But man, dads are incredible, bro.
They are.
They're so incredibly important to not just children, but young men especially.
Yes.
Because there's always something that I always feel like. And I know, man, you're going to make a great dad. I can already tell.
Amen.
You know, you're going to make a great dad because there's something you see inside your sons that only you can see. That only you can see, you know. Because why? Because you've been a young man before, you know, and you've been there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, Cesar, man, excellent work, man. Excellent, man. Excellent.
Yeah,
great job, man.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to hear you talk about how that passion you had for soccer for your whole life.
Yes.
You talked about I was born with a soccer ball, pretty much. You know, I mean that's how Brazil is, right? I didn't play for 2 years.
Yeah,
I lost it. You know, and then you just it's like riding a bike. You get right back on the bike, and now you're just going.
Yeah.
You know,
you resurrected those feelings back, man. And did it come back stronger
and
than
also,
ever?
man,
Yes,
shout out.
he came stronger than ever, man.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because is all that energy and passion turned the other way.
Exactly.
Right?
That was being held back, you know, and just stick on one place, and when it comes out, it just poof, explodes.
Wow.
Actually, fun fact about that. So every time you go to a Comets game, every player has an entrance, right? And so my very first game, I didn't know that like every player had their entrance, right? But they kind of told me, and I was like, all right, I'm ready. And so when I come out, it's my signature. Like as soon as I come out, I'm just come out like jumping and blasting my arms up and saying, "Let's go, Kansas City!
Let's
go!
Yeah,
Come
let's
on
go.
now!"
Right,
you know.
right,
And so,
right.
and I think that I never ever thought about that was gonna turn into my signature move. But I think it was just so much energy holding inside that when I had the first ever opportunity, I was just poof,
Yeah.
you know, out to the roof.
So now people understand that, right?
Yeah. I was going to ask you that, man. I'm glad you touched on that. Like if there was some type of game tradition that you do or a song. Do you got a song or like a play out song when you walk out? You got anything like that?
So we don't have like songs to play out when we come out, but yes, I have a full, like I can give you a whole run through of like what my pregame day is like. And, you know, I would say, it's a little bit of everything. So like I enjoy waking up, and if we have practice, sometimes we practice on most of the times we practice
Before
on the same
game?
day,
Game
before
day,
the game.
yeah.
So I go to the arena, we kind of feel the stadium, we get the angles, we do a few like movements and stuff, and then but that's usually when I come back home, I just try to really make sure I eat enough carbs and protein as well. And then one thing that I really enjoy doing is kind of mentalizing the game. So I meditate a little bit, also because I have a lot of energy, and so I try to like calm myself down through like breath work and things like that.
Right.
And so after I do that, I try to usually watch the previous game off that team on the screen that I either I played with them, or if I didn't play, just watching. So then I can have an idea of like, how do they touches look like? How do they adapt? How I'm basically doing homework at the time, right? So getting my
film type of thing.
Exactly. Because we do it during the week with the team and things like that, but nothing like your own work, And so I usually visualize that while eating, and then I usually try to take a nap, and then almost by time I leave, I do a little bit of mobility and stretch, which usually takes me like 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes, and then I put my outfit on, boom, and then on the car I'm listening to all types of music. I usually enjoy
get you going.
Yes, I usually enjoy listening to samba, but I also love reggaeton. I love listening to EDM, and I feel raps here and there, hip hop. So I have a little variety of songs, but yeah, that's usually what I do before going to the war, to the battle. So
I mean, the Comets. So it's an indoor soccer team.
That's
indoor soccer league, man. And this is really one thing I'm really excited to learn about, because I really am going to learn here in this conversation. Already beyond you is talk about the league.
Yes.
Okay, what is the league the Comets are in? And then if you can, try to give us some explanation of the rules for indoor soccer. If
Absolutely, yes. So we play the MASL, Major Arena Soccer League, MASL. MASL has 3 divisions. MASL 1, which is the one that we play, which is the highest indoor soccer league in the world. We have MASL 2, MASL 3, which are for other teams with less investment, I would say, in it. And so the Comets play MASL. And this year, as an example, we have 12 teams. And so basically the way it works is we have 24 games, and then the first 8 qualify to playoffs. So right now we already clinched our playoffs, even though we still have like 4 games left. We clinched our playoffs with like 8 games to go. Actually, we've been with our record right now. Our record right now is 14-4-2. So we've been pretty solid this season. And then basically right now for playoffs on Friday, April 4th. You're going to see the first place playing against the 8th place and second place playing against the 7th. All the games are going to be in San Diego, because San Diego is the first team in our league to have their own arena. And so we're going to be playing at their own arena. On Saturday, you're going to see 3rd playing against 6th, 4th playing against 5th. And then on Sunday, you're going to see the semifinals, which the winners are from that game. And then the winners go to the final, and the finals are going to be playing home and away. And then if, let's say, the Comets goes to the final, we win the first game, and then the second game, the other result that I never like to say that word happens, that would be a 3rd game.
Gotcha.
So that's usually how the league works, right?
Gotcha.
Now, talking about how the game works, right? So a lot of people go to the games and they're like, oh my God, this game is fast and it's aggressive.
I love it,
It's
though.
nonstop fun, and it's just keep going back and forth, and the music is loud. People are dancing while watching the game. I would say the very first game I played, I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, there's just so much here,
Right.
And as I was telling you guys before this, it takes you 3 years to kind of like learn a little bit of the game, right? So they say that you're a rookie until your 3rd year, and the main reason is because of that. Every rule is different. And so I'll give you an example right now, right here. So we play 5 in the line and the goalie, so that's a 6v6, right? And then the subs, they're continuous, right? So you can come out at any time, you can come in at any time, but basically if somebody's coming out and they are not on the line, there's a certain line close to the wall, and you're still coming in, that can be a foul, and you're losing a player at that moment. So there is a blue card. So that's the first thing in our soccer. We have a blue card. So the blue card means you're going to play with less a player for 2 minutes. So it's going to be, 6 against 5 during those, 2 minutes. So they call that a power play.
So is that kind of like hockey?
Yeah, that's kind of like hockey.
Has like a power play.
Like a power play.
Thing.
Yeah, so that's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
So indoor soccer is very similar to hockey. Okay. Very similar. And so me as an example, I am a specialist in defending power plays, right? So when we're man down, that's usually when I come in because, I
cover 2 people at one time.
That's
right.
That's why.
He's all over the place.
We know why.
I can cover ground. Yeah. So that's one of the things. If you ever get a yellow card in the game, it's a personal foul. So that means is you are going to be, kind of like hockey on that box for 5 minutes. But you're still playing 6 against 6. Gotcha. So blue card, you're a man down for 2 minutes, right? After the 2 minutes, the player comes back on if they don't score. If they score on you, then it goes back to being the same numbers. Yellow card is just a personal foul. You stay 5 minutes in the box. As soon as you complete those 5 minutes, ball goes out of bounds. You can go back to the, to the playing time that you want. And then red is the same, right? So if you get a red card, the player is out. It doesn't change the number of players on the field, but just that player is out of the field.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a long period of time, or like
he's out for the
game.
He's out of the game.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
nobody wants a red card.
Yeah, nobody wants a red card at all, but it happens. It happens. Right. And so that's one of the things. Other rules that are kind of like hard to understand if you don't really know. It's there are lines on the game, right? So then there's the half field, and then there are 2 lines, right? Which are in between the goal and the half, right? And people don't really understand what that line is for. So basically, everything. Let's say we're defending right now, right? We're all defending right here. They have passed that line. Let's say I kick the ball purposely out of the field. If I do that, it's a foul right in front of our goal, which is called a top of the box. Okay. So you are not allowed to just kick it out if you're behind that yellow. And so they make the game hard for you because there are moments where you're defending, the ball is really close to you and you react fast and you kick out, and then boom, it's going to be a foul. Like literally, the distance that I'm right here from the blue thing behind you guys, that's the distance that like the shot's going to happen. Oh, wow. So like the people that are on the wall, we're ready to block, you can even blink. Right. And so, there are a few rules, like you can also not send the ball from the back of this line all the way to the other one. They call it a 3 line because it's this line, half line, third line, right? So
you're not allowed to kick
you're not
it all
allowed
the way
to just
down the
kick
field.
it, so it makes the games harder because now you got to figure out a way to play off the back to pass this line, because then you can use the wall, right? So all these little rules, once you start learning, you're like, oh my God, now I get why this is so hard, or why they are having such a hard time to get the ball to the field and things like that.
Do you have a funny story you could share about maybe early coming into the league and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was the rule?
Oh, so many times. So many times, like even at moments like this top of the box thing, right? So there are also corner kicks that are kind of the same, but people were starting to yell like, oh, top of the box, and I had no idea what it was, so I just kept running forward, and like here are my teammates kind of like getting ready for the wall, and I'm all the way up the field,
right?
And the thing is, like, as I said, it's so close to the goal that like one guy less on the wall and boom, you can already get scored on, And so I just see everybody in the bench like, Chris, it's a top of the box. And I'm like, a top of the box? What the top of the box? And then I try to react. I'm like, what's going on? And so I come out, like I sub instead of going to the wall. I kind of freaked out,
Yeah.
But this was one of many moments that I'm like, I'm coming out and I'm like, what is happening?
What the hell is going on?
Yeah, what is this rule? Like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But you start figuring it out as it goes, and
it's such a fast-paced game, man. And I'll tell you, man, D-Rod, I went out there to watch Chihuahua.
That's right.
And the Comets in the final, right?
The finals, yes.
The finals. And man, just like when they score, the whole stadium goes crazy. And it was in the
Cable Dome Arena.
Cable Dome Arena, thank you.
Yes.
It was at Cable Dome Arena, and it's loud, man. But the thing is that people are subbing left and right, and then one of the things that I love to see is how you guys use the wall.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You use the wall
That's
as part of the
crazy.
offense and defense.
That's right.
So that's incredible,
Yeah,
man.
I saw. I know. I was gonna bring that up too because I think I seen the clip. Did you score? I don't know when it was. Right, somebody hit it, bounced off the glass,
About the ball.
and bam,
Yep,
kicked it
that's
right
right.
in there. Oh man, that's a crazy. That's
That
a
had
crazy
that
rule.
that,
Yeah.
that was probably something you were like, oh, I like this.
Yeah, for sure. And at the same time, not like when you're defending, right?
Right,
Because
right,
it's
right.
so hard because now you have to angle
Try to
your
keep
body
up.
and exactly put yourself in front of the ball.
Yeah.
But that goal that you're talking about, they call a walla scora, right? So when the ball hits the wall and comes back, it's a walla and then scora, right? When you score. So I scored the first goal of the Easter Conference final against Milwaukee Wave. It's a shot that hits the glass, comes back to me, and I hit it first time.
Okay.
But yeah, the wall is. I used to say that in my very first, I would say, year and my first 2 seasons, I would say, I would get more mentally tired than physically. And the main reason is because, in soccer, once you close the middle, the guy runs, he goes out of bounds.
Right.
That's it. Field is over, my friend.
Right.
In soccer, indoor soccer, when you close the middle, they can use the wall to beat you. They can use the wall to pass it. And if you try to somehow close middle and close wall, they can use the wall that is behind you, right? So then now you're like, what can I do to close this gap or to,
Right.
defend this space, And so the walls make it so much harder. Like every time, it's a little bounce that comes weird. And then now you had a perfect shot and you don't have it anymore. You have to adjust.
Right.
And, it's a hard wall too.
Yeah.
So when you go to battle at it, my friend, it's gonna hurt.
Right.
Like, you know that you're gonna get stepped on. You're gonna get elbowed on. Referees kind of like understand that the game is tough, so they let it play, And so, the walls change everything.
I gotta be honest, man. I'm sitting there watching this game, Christian,
Mm-hmm.
and by the way, I hope we get out there this year too.
Yes.
But I'm sitting there watching this game, and because you were saying it earlier, you're like, things aren't that far from each other.
No.
I mean, on a like Sporting KC, Major League Soccer field, it's rather large, and there's some distance between them,
That's
right? And so whenever I see people fall in a Major League Soccer game or get hurt or roll around, I'm like, I don't know if that really hurt that bad. But then I was watching you guys play.
Like they're LeBron in it.
Yeah, little LeBron. And then I was like watching these guys play, and I was like, yeah, that shit looked like it hurt. Yeah, that shit looked like it hurt, man.
Yes.
Because I mean, is the ball different? Is it
Yes.
bigger? Is it heavier? Smaller?
It's heavier, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Wow.
I think if it's too light, it's just going to be like
Oh,
ding,
yeah.
ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
like a Beyblade. So the ball is a little heavier, and I will say I had to. One of the adaptations that I had was just getting faster, like more explosive, because it really is a question of like 1 to 2 steps, and that makes a huge, massive difference
Right.
on blocking a shot or on
Right.
scoring a goal.
Right.
And the angles are are really tiny because the walls are right like behind you. So sometimes as soon as you shoot and you miss it, I have to be ready for the next shot. Like I don't have a
Right.
time to, like in soccer, when you find a shot, it goes out of bounds. Okay, I'm going to reset right here. Put
Yeah.
myself, no. Like as soon as you
Yeah,
miss, okay, I'm ready for the second one. Boom, it's going to hit again. Boom, ready for the third one. Boom, now it's counter, run up. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
So you never really stop and your mind is going a million miles per hour. So
After a game,
yeah.
how do you relax from doing all that shit, man?
Perfect moment.
Come on,
Perfect.
man.
Man, it's I think that's one of the worst parts. Yeah, because like your body's tired.
Yeah.
But your mind just keeps on.
Yeah, you're still racing, bro.
It's intense,
Still
man.
racing.
Intensity's still going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and that's not just me. Like all of the guys,
Everybody.
like we
The
have a
team.
hard time. We have a hard time sleeping.
Right.
Usually, takes a couple hours. That's why usually coach try to like gives a day off the day after, because he knows that we're not gonna have the best night of sleep.
Recovery, man.
Exactly.
All about recovery.
Exactly.
You brought up something a little while ago about injury.
Yeah.
Like you got hurt.
Yes.
Which is an actual common thing.
Yeah.
Man,
Oh,
common
very.
thing. I
Yeah.
mean, I shout out
Especially
to
with
my,
that intensity.
Well,
out.
shout out. I was gonna say shout out to I got nieces, man, that play.
Yeah.
Shout out Yesenia. Shout out Jimena. Shout out Zanata Arnold, man. They're at Northwest Missouri and they all play.
They're
That's
good
awesome.
too.
But unfortunately, one of them got hurt. They got concussion. But have you? What kind of injuries have? I know you said something about you got hurt.
That's
before,
right.
Too.
So luckily and thankfully, I got a few injuries here at the Comets, but it never put me away from a match. I've actually played 93 matches for the Comets on my 4th year, which is actually a pretty good number, counting regular season and playoffs. So, and that number is just not higher because of my visa issues that I had on my 2nd year, which now is all fixed. But talking about the injuries, basically what I had was my hips when I was younger. I think was just the way that I was training at the time, and overuse the cartilage started to kind of fall apart, and they wanted to give me a surgery actually, and my mom was like, Christian, you're too young. Like, I don't think, and like in Brazil, we have a completely different mindset. We try to avoid surgeries. We try to avoid medicines as much as possible. It's more of a natural healing process. And so that's when I started figuring out, those ways of training to, prepare myself to it. And so when you're talking about injuries, the Comets right now, we had a 3 losing streak game. Because until then, we were winning everything, and then we got back-to-back losses.
Right.
But the main reason was because 6 of our starters were injured, right? So we had ankle injuries, we had knee injuries, we had hip injuries, and it's tough because, it's a lot of contact. It's a violent sport. It really is. And not just that, the load is huge. We're traveling tomorrow. We're going to Seattle, and then we come back on Saturday to play here at Cable Dome Arena on Sunday for our last regular
You're
season
traveling
game,
tomorrow?
Right? Yeah, we're traveling tomorrow. We play Friday. We travel on Saturday. We play Sunday, right? So it's hard on the body,
man.
And so I think the main thing that I'll give to our audience today is, taking care of your body and recovery, as you said, is the main thing. So me as an example, I'm always you're going to see me with a little massage gun, going on the muscles. I'm doing hitting pads. I'm doing stretches, I'm doing, ice and hot. I'm doing all these things before, after matches, before and after practices constantly, because it will worn you out, and even more my position, right? So we're talking about the game earlier. I'm a defensive runner. So the name says it all, runner. I'm running full speed the whole time, right? In a team, you have a few midfielders, you have a few targets, you have a few defenders, but you only have one defensive runner, right? And so I have to do the job for my team to get the possession back. So if I don't take care of my body, an injury is just a click away.
Right.
So
also, you brought up, you said the bad L word. Right.
Yes.
You had those
That's right.
Don't say that word.
And the bad L word, man. But I can imagine, and just like you said, how it takes a toll on your body, and it takes your toll on your mentality too, your psychology.
That's right.
So when you have to regain that the confidence, right, to bounce back.
Yep.
To do that, as a team effort, because I'm sure everybody gets down
Very
and out,
down.
and trying to rebound that up.
Yep.
And how you're a talker, man. You support your team.
Right.
You guys all get together and figure that out, right?
Yeah.
So that, how is that?
Yeah.
How is that when you do that, bro?
So it's sad for everybody. It's sad for the person that is injured. It's sad for the teammates because, we see, I'll give you an example, right? Our MVP last year, Zach Reggett, right? He got injured in the beginning of the season. And everybody was just like, we know how important that person is for our team. The guy is just a beast, right? And then now we have him out. We know that a lot of the chances that he would put away, now we're going to have to figure out some other way to fix this problem, So, and then while that's happening, we see our friend and teammate struggling, feeling pain and, looking at us play and feeling like, oh, crap, I cannot participate, So it's like if you have a kid and you take the chocolate away from the kid, the first reaction the kid's going to it's kind of the same, it hurts, it's painful, we're sad about it. But, we don't really have much time.
Right.
And so the
For
team
sure,
has to
man.
keep doing what they need to do.
You gotta get ready to play again.
Yeah, you do. So
Yeah.
we gotta, as a team, we gotta figure out other ways, support him in every way possible. So sometimes we help him with an exercise, or giving him just like talking to him or spending time with him.
Correct. That's a whole team effort. Man.
Exactly.
That's a whole team effort.
Exactly.
Everybody depends on each other.
Everybody.
You guys right there, that family, bro.
That's right. And at the same time, like seeing the work that you have to do, then arriving early so you can do rehab, and you start getting your massages in, and doing the exercise that you have to do, using the band, stretching, doing all the things that you need to do. So
I highly go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I need to get me one of those
massage
Yeah,
guns.
the massage guns,
bro.
yeah.
I've been wanting one for so bad.
They're good, man.
they're amazing. Watching TV and just doing them and stuff. The best, yeah.
I was gonna say, man, for anybody who's listening to this or watching this, I mean, you gotta go if you've never been or haven't been for a while, like me, to a KC Comets game.
Yeah.
Go check out our boy Christian. Go check out the team. It is super fun, super fun. You will walk out of there and be like, "Wow, I'm definitely gonna do this again."
That's right.
Honestly, man.
That's right.
Do you know, Christian? Like, I would say when you individually, or maybe your coach, you guys are scouting teams and you're trying to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, like, okay, man, I'm gonna play a lot more that with this team than I am the other team, or whatever, like, because I would assume like matchups, like any sport, really matter.
Really
you know
matter.
what I mean?
Yes.
So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, it always starts with the coach, right? So the coaches, they see the game differently, right? So our coach is an example. He loves the high pressure and he loves transition, right? And so that's why, they invest so much on my position, is because I am the guy that starts that high press, right? And so there are teams that we play and I'm always on the field because it's a team that enjoys transition too, and sometimes they love keeping possession of the ball, so you constantly see me there. But then there are games that I don't really come in because there are teams that sit back and wait, so then our team is keeping possession, so every matchup is different. I would say if I can pick a few of my favorites, and I think we'll go from there to kind of have an idea of this, is Chihuahua, as we talked about. Main reason why I love playing Chihuahua is because fantastic players, and there's not, when you're playing 5 against 5, I'm taking the goalies out right now, right? When you're playing 5 against 5,
Right.
if you have one player that is not as good on your team right now, you're playing a 5v4, right? When you're talking about soccer, you're playing, I'll take the goalies out again, 10v10. Right. If you don't have somebody that is that good, you still have like 9 players. It's quite a lot of guys, But when you have a lower matchup, now everybody has to be really good. Right. And so Chihuahua kind of makes a difference because no matter how many times they rotate, the quality is always up there, And so the reason why I enjoy playing with them is because it's always chaotic, a lot of runs, and people. You probably guys, you said you enjoyed the final last year just because it's chance after chance, and then hitting the post and things like that. That's one of my favorites. And the other one is Milwaukee Wave, right?
Okay.
There are rivals, so rivalry is always in addition to it. It's like a little spice right there. There are always reason for you to go at them, and
You circle that one on the calendar.
Yes, you always do. I always do. And those are the ones that we just recently faced them. We won here 9-6, and
Nice.
I got to score with like 2 seconds left and stuff. And we irritate each other the whole time. If that's with the goal celebration, if that's with something you're gonna say or something like that. So in all those matchups, they are different. We adjust. A little bit towards the teams, but I will say our main philosophy, and once again, it goes back to our coaches, a high press followed by transition games. So
Got you, man.
Man, I wanted to give a couple some stats, man, that I read
Let's
upon
go.
you. All right,
Love
because
this.
man, I love to give the recognition, man, that
For sure.
they deserve or you deserve. Okay, so I
Thank
wrote
you.
them down, man. So all of our listeners and all of our followers and the audience, if you don't know, about to educate you. And if I get anything wrong, please correct me. Okay. So as of last season, it says that you have played 60, but I think you said 80. Or
80 is like total on the
total
regular
games
season.
of regular season.
Yes.
So 80 plus games regular season.
That's
all right.
right.
Wow. Plow.
Man.
All right. It says that you had 21 goals.
That's right.
Wow.
11 assists.
Yep.
Okay, 47 blocks. Holy shit! And then 3 game-winning scores, goals. Right? Come on, man. Come on.
You know what that is, D-Rod.
Hold on.
You know.
There's a little
we
bit
got
more. There's a little bit more.
Okay. We'll wait.
In 2024, you were recognized for the award of the Joseph
Cairo.
Yes. Cairo Award, which means that you've been recognized for having the biggest heart on the field and in the community.
That's
Man.
right. That's right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
beautiful.
So, I mean, that's incredible, man. There's a couple other things. Of course, I just want to, applaud you on your modeling.
Thank you.
I seen also just last week you was in the Kansas City Fashion Week,
That's right.
You was strutting, bro. Come on. So I mean, to that
You
point,
know what that is, D-Rod. You know
Hey,
what that
Chris,
is,
you know what that is, man.
Salud,
Come on,
man.
Salud.
Man.
I mean, those accomplishments, brother, that you've done, 4 seasons, 4 seasons here, man, that you're doing. And also, I wanted to touch on a little bit. You said the Playmaker.
That's right.
Right? You're a CEO, founder of Playmaker. So that we'll go on with a salute on that as well,
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, man. What's that Playmaker, bro?
Yeah. So, after my first job at UMKC, as I was saying, I started coaching. After I don't know a year and a half here in America,
Right.
and it was a really fun experience because I used to coach in Brazil too, but I used to coach older players, right? Like older, I mean by
Teenagers,
20s, teenagers, things like that. And so it felt really nice to dealing with the little kids because I have a lot of energy, and so I think I kind of match their energy. And somehow they keep me young. So, it was being really fun, kind of people don't really play soccer as much as we do back home. Yeah. So, my players were just asking me absolutely everything, right? How it is in Brazil, and can you teach me this? How can I do that? Da-da-da. And so it was easy to fall in love with. And after a couple of years, coaching, I started to build my own, community.
Yeah.
And, I started to really grow, and I started to, educate myself too. I got licensed. I am USSF licensed, which is the United States license here for soccer. And then I also educated myself with the one in Brazil. So I'm certified to, instruct kids for soccer in, other places of the world. And, I think there was a certain point that my teammate, Rion Marques, it's the big Brazilian, they call him. It's our target. He is the one that plays offense. I'm the one that plays defense, right? So I do the dirty work for him too. Live the glory. So we're great friends, and we usually are roommates. And when we travel, right, we usually stay in the same room. And we started kind of connecting our dots, and he kind of was living the same thing, coaching kids and things like that. Yeah. And that's when we were like, dude, why don't we start our own thing? Let's bring a little bit of that Brazilian joy, the Brazilian games, and the Brazilian style to an academy here. Yeah. And so that's how Playmaker started. It was just a conversation between the two teammates that turned to be best friends nowadays. And we just we were having a meeting today on how we can provide a fun and beautiful experience for the kids that want to play soccer. So.
Yeah. And how can people, do you take applications? How can people look into it? You got a website? Let's plug that, man. What is it?
We do. So everybody that want to go online, you can go to Playmaker, which is the name, right? Playmaker SA, Soccer Academy, playmakersa.com. Okay. You're going to find us online. And then also on Instagram too, at playmaker.sa, and you're going to find us very easily. We're open to everybody because we believe that, soccer is for everybody.
All ages?
Yes, all ages. We start with, usually pre-K and K. Okay. We do it's called a Soccer Fun for All. It's a rec program that we have. So we offer for kids that just really want to have some type of activity and learn more about the game. Right. And we also have the other side of the spectrum, which is the advanced one, which is called Play Like a Pro. And so for that, those are the smaller groups where they get to understand, a little bit better on the details of the game and how they can optimize their performance.
Awesome,
you talked about with Playmaker, you guys, because your partner's Brazilian as well, right?
That's right.
Can can you describe like the style? You said Brazilian style.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah.
if you had to describe that, man,
Yes.
like, for people, what is that? What does
So
that mean?
I think it's a combination of things, right? One of the very first one, it's a fun environment. Like the kids, they're usually coming there like, today's soccer day, you know, and so you already feel it right away because coaches have a smile on their faces. You know, I always tell them that like it's a joyful story for us, right? So the Joga Bonito, right? That story of like playing beautiful. So I think you always start with that. I think that the atmosphere is fun, right? And how we create that is by doing games that the kids, they don't feel like, oh, I'm just dribbling around a cone right here. Or I'm just, you know, like having to do. No, we create a game where the kid thinks that he's a cheetah and he has to chase the zebra. And then now how can you find that? You know, how can you with the ball be the cheetah chasing the zebra or something?
Kind of put it in context of a child's world.
That's right. And of course that changes as they age, right? And so when they start getting to like be a little older, they don't see themselves as cheetahs anymore. They see themselves as players, but we still find ways to make it fun, right? So we bring games that we played in the streets of Brazil, and now we make them play while a coach is watching and adapting, right? Because in Brazil we have millions of soccer games. And so, that's the Brazilian style is, just creating a happy and joyful atmosphere with a coach that, is there to support on every single aspect that you need and giving you the feedback in a positive way. So we just believe in positivity.
Did you guys develop that kind of curriculum yourself?
Yes, we did. So it was all based on these licenses that we did. Rian and I, we did actually the Brazilian license together. We flew to Florida, and it was the very first time that the Brazilian Confederation was offering a license here in America. So we were part of the very first group of that. So
that's beautiful.
It was awesome. And we talked to our mentors right there, and we were developing the curriculum already, and they took a look at it and they loved it. So I would say it's never a done project, right? You're always ongoing, you're always making better.
For sure.
But as of right now, it's pretty fresh and it's pretty beautiful. Everything based on science and academical studies. So it's pretty dope.
So just real quick, one question I wanted to ask you about back to the Comets real fast.
Yeah.
So you said 4 years you've been playing, right?
That's right. This is my fourth year.
So what is it looking like? You gonna renew a contract?
Yeah.
You're gonna be here for a while more? What, Chihuahua plucking you? What's gonna happen here?
Man,
So-
there's other people trying to snatch you up?
Yeah, so when I signed for 3 years, right? So I just recently renewed my contract.
Nice.
Yes, I did had other offers. I got really close to going to California, actually. But, I love my coach, and I love the team. And I think the team is the main part. And it includes the coach, right, of course, and the staff. But, I think that was a big persuader for me to stay here. Yeah. And, also having the support from the community, as you're saying. I love my people here in Kansas City and, Community America. I'll mention them because we're partners and, they always try to look at the Latin side of it, right? We're all Latinos here and we kind of understand the struggles that, not just necessarily us, but people in our families have to go through. And so, we all kind of came in agreement. And so I feel honored to be here again. Last year we got so close, losing in the final is just so heartbreaking, So we got to do it again. I will be here for the next season already because I signed for 2 more years. Good. So I'm excited to be playing right now.
Hey, man, that's what's up. I mean, I'm excited for you, Christian. I'm excited for Kansas City, man, because they're gonna get to watch you play, man.
Thank you.
I mean, to me, even though, and we tell people this all the time, right, D-Rud?
Yeah.
Like, man, once you've been here for 5+ years or more, I mean, dude, you're a Kansas Cityan, man.
Yes, that's true.
You particularly with you, man. You really have bought in. You've created your own business here, and you got your degree here. You know what I mean? It's just, dude, you're a Kansas Cityan, bro. Yeah. So don't leave home, man.
I love it in here.
We can't talk about soccer without talking about the World Cup real quick.
That's right.
I mean, the World Cup is coming next year. We're a little over a year away. What are you excited to see with the World Cup, man?
Yeah, so, fun fact about the World Cup, and then I'm throwing a little spice right here too, some news that people might not know, but at the time that they were, about to announce World Cup here, I was an intern for Mayor Quentin Lucas.
Oh, okay.
So, when I was doing my master's, I loved Kansas City so much that I kind of wanted to, go deeper levels off, how can I actually support the people here.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was nice because I get to share a little bit of like how our health system works back home and things like that.
Right.
So, I try to give like some of my insights, and they were very welcoming. So I worked at City Hall for a long time,
Okay.
and it was awesome. And so when I heard the news of the World Cup, I was like, wow, like, is Kansas City really going to make it? Because, like, we're the soccer capital of America. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah,
We're the
yeah.
soccer capital of America. And so, I was like, this would be huge. I know that we may not be the biggest city here in America, but we have something that is very, it's priceless what we have here.
Unless
And-
you talk about soccer, then we might be the biggest city in America.
That's
bro,
right. That's right. And so yeah, when they started doing all the work and you started to really come true this dream, I just started being extremely excited. World Cup means everything for Brazilians. We love watching it together. And having my family, I already told them, like, you guys got to come visit me, friends, family, like we got to watch a game here in Kansas City. So I'm super excited. I think it's going to be beautiful. I think the city has everything it needs, to put on a good show. And I'm extremely excited to watch this World Cup, and I really hope Brazil can, take their 6th star right now.
They're 6, man. They got 6. They got 5 titles, man.
That's right. We need our 6th.
They're number 1 in them.
That's
so
right.
What's crazy about this conversation, D-Rod, is that, about a year ago, we were talking to this man's wife, and she could not stop talking about Messi.
That's right. That's right.
Isn't that the team that beat Brazil in the World Cup last time?
Man, yeah, no, it wasn't
That has to-
Argentina.
it-
It wasn't.
okay,
Thank goodness.
I thought it was.
But no.
But that has to be an interesting conversation in the household.
Always. Oh my God.
Not to put her on the spot, but I think she said
don't
something to
say
the
that.
effect
She
of
did.
my husband away from my husband or something like that. Shout out
right.
Dizzy there.
Shout out to my baby boo, and
yeah.
I will be honest with you, like, man, so many nationalities, and I had to, pick my beautiful wife that is part Argentinian. Wow, oh my God! But make things fun. She's having the best time right now, but I know that Brazilian time is gonna come back. So
Let's go,
not really
man.
worried about
no
that.
doubt.
Well, man, look, man, I think, like you said, man, this is such a huge event for the city, man.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, man.
And, I look forward to seeing how you can get involved and contribute to that,
Absolutely.
and hopefully even, the team, the Comets, you know what I mean? Because, that's the big thing about the Kansas City. Of course, the big teams get all the glory and recognition.
Absolutely,
The Chiefs,
always.
the Royals, even Sporting KC current.
Right.
But we got KC Glory, we got KC Comets, we got KC Monarchs, KC Mavericks,
Yep.
there's some other teams here, man,
Absolutely.
doing
There's a
some
whole
great
bunch
work,
of
man.
a lot of athletes, man.
Yeah, and Kansas City is a sports town. So
Oh, bro.
Oh, yeah, man.
Huge sports town.
huge.
And nobody, I don't care. We talk about this too quite a bit, Christian. Maybe you could share. We have yet to visit a city who rocks their city gear.
Yes.
Like Kansas City.
No, I don't think it exists. I don't think it exists.
Does Brazil, your hometown in Brazil, do they wear Brazilian?
Like, we do it, but I just think, like, not as, like, the percentage, the rate here in Kansas City is, like, incredible. Like, everybody just really loves wearing their
And not even
sports
just
thing.
in KC, but when everybody travels, like
That's
I know,
right. That's
I know
very
when
right.
I go to a whole different state, somewhere else,
or country.
Oh, man.
or country,
Yeah.
whatever I pack, I'm packing some Kansas City
Yes.
merch, gear, whatever it is,
Especially if
Yeah.
I'm traveling to California.
Oh,
Kind of
man.
Kansas City.
Anywhere, man.
Yeah. No. That's what's up, man. All right. We got to talk about something, man. I said it to you when you came in here. I said, dude, I cannot wait to talk about your
yes,
haircut.
that's right.
Man, dude, talk to us about your haircut,
Oh,
your
man,
hairstyle,
it's
man.
dope,
I
man.
wish
Thank
I
you.
could cut my hair like yours.
Yeah.
I need to meet your barber, bro. We
Yes.
need to meet. We
Give
need to
him a
meet
shout
you.
out, man.
Who
Huge
is
shout.
this person? Man?
Yeah, so a big shout out to my brother. He's from Juarez, Mexico. His name is Jerry. Gerardo is how his name is.
Yeah.
We call him Jerry Flores. He's amazing. He's not just a barber. The guy is actually a singer. He's a performer. He's a freestyler.
Hey.
Like, he's a beast. And the hair. It started when I was young. Once again, my dad. I said that I was gonna repeat his name all the time. My dad always loved, like, kind of letting me do what I wanted to my hair. And so since I was a kid, I would paint and, do some cool style to it. And I was kind of known for it, right? It was my signature thing.
Right.
And so, I was playing here with the Comets. My first season, I had really long hair. And then my second season, I kind of cut it because I went back home and I donated my hair. And so then for my second season, I just had like normal hair. And then my dad came up to me and he's like, Christian, I've been watching your games. This season you played as a midfielder. You scored 11 goals in 14 games. You had a great season. But I would say like something doesn't feel right about you.
That
Your
again.
look.
Yeah. She's like, something's missing. And I was like, all right, Dad, like, what can it be? And he's like, I think it's your hair. I think you need to go back to who you were and things like that. And I was like, all right, Dad, that's right. But the crazy part was, I was like, Dad, you know what? Look at a few hairstyles and tell me what you like. And that guy went on Pinterest with my wife. And there is this guy it's almost fully bald with a fireball. It's literally fire. So like his color has like multiple colors. It's yellow, red, orange, and blue. Mm-hmm. And my dad was like, this is the one.
That's
this is the one. I was like, I don't even think that this is possible. I think this is AI. Like, this is not possible. And my dad was like, no, I think that this. And so, anyways, I started looking for a barber, and I ended up finding someone, which I'm going to give a shout out to, Patty. Cheers to you. She was the very first one that did the fireball. And then eventually we went to do a cut in Jerry's spot, which is called Be Classy. And I got to meet him. And, like culturally we're closer because Jerry is, Latino too.
Yeah.
And so he started speaking Spanish and things like that. And I had flowers at the time on my hair. And he was like, dude, I love doing designs and I'd love to do design under you. And I was like, all right, sounds good. Let's do it. As soon as I'm done with this hair, I'll come back here.
Yeah.
And then, boom. It all started. And now, like, the guy's, like, he's my best friend. We spend hours together. Because, like, there are hairstyles that I spend 8 hours. Like, they're long. Like, this one, for example, it took me 6 hours. I went 3 days for 2 hours. 2 hours, come back next day. 2 hours, come back next day. 2 hours. So it's an inspiration. It's always a message behind.
Sure.
So this red haircut that I have here today as an example, it's in honor of, all the women in the world because of the Women's History Month. And so I love giving flowers to my wife, to my mom, to my grandma. And so my godmother, anytime I have my women, them from my family in town, I like giving them flowers. And so that's the reason why I made the flowers right now.
Nice.
But, every hair, there's a meaning behind it. The one previous to that was just a red art. Here it was just a simple like red to it, and the red was because we may all be different, we may all come from different places, but in the end we all bleed red, right? So we don't discriminate, we don't need to do any of that, we're all the same. And so every hair has a meaning, and I love Jerry. Thank you, bro, for doing everything that you do. Everybody loves the hairstyle, and everybody's always excited.
Man. It sounds like he has an incredible story, man.
He has, man.
Bro, we need to get that dude on the pod.
Absolutely. Yes.
Come on, Jerry.
I think I need Jerry to put like a microphone on my head.
Hey,
like
let's go.
Like an EKC right on it, man.
I was just like, I don't know, man. Listen, I love and respect the shit out of you that you can,
Thank you.
have fun and do all that and look good,
Yeah.
Bro, I shaved my head one time, Christian. My dad looked at me like it was opposite dad reaction. It was like
what the hell
are you doing to your head?
Yeah.
And I was like, I know, I'm sorry.
I gotta shave my hair because my hair
Dad.
don't grow no more, man. It's just
hats.
Yeah, it's going away, man. So
And so Jerry's local.
Jerry's local.
He's local here.
He's
Okay.
right
Well,
here.
then, hey,
He's
we gotta make it
located on
happen.
River Market. It's called Be Classy. And
Be classy.
Be classy.
you guys should definitely message him on Instagram.
Let's
'cause
go.
It's
let's
at
talk.
Jerry Barber.
Let's talk, Jerry. Let's talk.
At Jerry Barber.
Yeah, Jerry with a G.
We'll give him a shout out on the episode too.
Yes.
Put his IG on there.
Absolutely.
Give
And
him
I want to
some
see
love.
him here at Enterrupt. I bet
Let's
that
go.
it's going to be a great time with him.
Hey, that would be fun. All right, man. Let's ask some unique questions to you, bro.
Okay.
But before we get there, man, I got to tell you this, Christian. We've talked to a number of people, bro. By now, you're up here in the 40s with us now, in terms of episode numbers. We've talked to a number of people, man. A lot of great stories, a lot of great life experiences, bro. But you sharing that story of coming from a whole other continent up here, your dark moment in life, man. Losing passion, gaining it back, and then not just doing it, but doing it at the level you do day in and day out, bro. Because I'll tell you, D-Rod, you see these videos on IG and all that,
yeah, man.
but then it's even in the game, bro. I was watching you, I was like, man, I would have a heart attack after minute like 2, 3, probably. The way this dude is full energy, you know.
Man.
So,
All throttle, man. All
with
throttle.
that, man, thank you for everything you're doing. But I gotta ask you this:
Yes.
the nickname, the Tasmanian.
Yes.
Where did this nickname
Who
come
gave
from?
it
Who
to you?
did that?
Yeah. So, my very first position was a defensive runner. And so my main goal is to get the possession of the ball as quickly as can, and then I come out, and then somebody else comes in, right?
Okay.
And so main reason why the nickname started was because I think it goes back to the passion that we're talking about, D-Rod. Other people have done the defensive runner. It's not that there is a plenty of defensive runners on the league, but I don't think anybody, before my coach, right? My coach he's the guy that created this thing, right? So he was the very first defensive runner. And after him, other defensive runners kind of came. But, besides my coach, I don't think there was ever somebody that was able to keep so much of a high pace, right? And I think that my main thing was just like I want this ball so bad, like they want me here. They gave me a contract. They're realizing my dream. I'm going to give back to this team with all I got.
Yeah.
And so anybody that is there spending their time to watch me play, I got to be humble enough to, they're saving their time. They could be doing anything else. They could be, spending time with their wives. They could be, like helping their kid do something. But no, they chose to be right here to watch us play. I got to do 1,000,000% for those people, and then also for my family that helped me be here, right? And so the Tasmanian Devil, I think it came from because it's just that relentlessness energy of like never giving up and fighting and just like full sprint. You never really see me jogging. If you see me jogging, it's probably because I got caught up in a 5-minute shift and I'm dead by then. But I tried my best to not let that happen. But the name. It was just every game I was coming out and I hear, hey, like I would call you Sonic, I would call you Energizer Bunny, I would call you da-da-da, and all these crazy names, Flash, Dash, all these superheroes that are kind of speed. And I'm like, all right, and Tasmanian Devil. And I was like, okay, like, you know what? Let's give the people the voice. So I was like, okay, this Instagram week, I'm going to figure out what's my nickname going to be. And they start calling me, the silent assassin, smiling assassin, all these things because, the high pace. And after I did a, pool, I started, asking them what was their favorite. And Tasmanian Devil was the one that by far won, followed by Sonic, actually. So, Tasmanian Devil ended up being the one that won. And, everybody kind of loves it now. And
Truly a man of the people, man.
Yeah,
Truly.
no shit. And the Tasmanian Devil, for anybody who don't know, that little sucker, man, he's out there.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's good, man.
I was going to, I'm going to share it because I don't care. My father, man, he nicknamed somebody Tasmanian Devil in my life when we were young. He was like, man, your girlfriend, she the Tasmanian Devil, bro.
Oh,
He
shit.
was like,
Jack.
she after you.
Oh, boy.
So that was the last time I heard somebody nicknamed Tasmanian Devil, man.
That's
I
awesome.
love that story, bro. I think it's
Yeah.
awesome, man, because you, like you said, man, you open it up to the people.
Yeah,
man.
man.
Let them choose what they want to call
As a
you,
community.
bro.
Absolutely, yeah. They're the ones supporting
and I
me,
have to be honest, man. Like I was like wondering that before I went to see you play.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw you play, and I was like, makes complete sense. Makes
Well,
complete sense.
I think Dulcinea said it too. I think
Yeah.
she said it
She
too,
mentioned,
right?
Yeah, she
man.
probably did. All right, man. Favorite Brazilian player ever that you just love, just above and beyond everybody else?
Easy one, Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho.
Even when we're talking about Playmaker, one of the main things that I have in my mind is I want people to live soccer as Ronaldinho lived soccer. That guy was always with a smile on his face, and just soccer. He made soccer so much more beautiful than he could be.
Man.
He's just a magician. So. They
And,
call it.
and he kind of mentored Messi.
Oh yeah, for sure. He
know?
gave the first assist to
Yeah,
Messi,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Messi always says it. He's like, man, I'm grateful for Ronaldinho for everything he did. So, yeah.
I seen a video of Ronaldinho, man. he was, I don't know where he was on the field, but he wasn't close to the goal. And he was kicking the ball off the bar, top bar,
That's a
and it would
very
bounce
famous
back.
Right back to
And
him.
he's just kicking it.
First
back
video
and
on
forth.
YouTube to reach 1 million views, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Man, I saw that video and I was like,
Yeah.
holy, that's skill.
It is skill. No, the guy's, and you know, like I love watching interviews and things about him. And everybody said, like, dude, when Ronaldinho would come to record and do his, like, you know, videos and stuff, it was one and done. They were like, you know, sometimes he said that one time they were gonna do something with Kobe Bryant and him, and they kind of like set up for like breakfast and lunch because they knew we were gonna take hours. Ronaldinho within like a minute just did the thing, flipped, and he got like I think inside of the basket for basketball something, and boom, done.
Oh, wow.
They were like, oh, all right, I guess we're done. So Ronaldinho's the goal. That one of my dreams is to meet that guy.
Well, I'm sure that'll happen.
That would
bro.
be dope, man.
Hey man, I hope so.
Favorite soccer movie?
Favorite soccer movie? I will go with a series, Ted Lasso.
Hey,
Yeah.
just got renewed for 4 seasons.
That's
You
right.
see
That's
that?
right. That's right.
And he's like gonna coach a female football.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just what I heard.
But he has been to a Comets game too, so he has actually watched us play.
Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, he has done it. So
Have you met him?
no, I didn't, unfortunately. But he saw me play, so that's a big
Yeah.
deal. You know.
Hey, he saw you come out. And,
Yeah, that's right.
All over, man.
Do my
Ted
thing.
Lasso. That's a great series. Man.
Yeah, I love it. I think I think it's also because I'm a coach, and people say that I was the main reason why I watch was because my kids that I coach and the parents, they were like, dude, you remind us of Ted Lasso. You remind us of Ted Lasso. And I'm like, why are they talking that? And then after I saw it, I think it's more because of the positivity. You know, like when we go through a lot of challenges in life, you start just you have choices, and I think I learned from my dad to always just pick the bright side of it. So I always see the good in it. So yeah, I love Ted Lasso.
Do you think your dad will watch this? Would he watch this?
So we are watching now together.
No,
Ted
I'm talking
Lasso.
about this episode.
Oh, no doubt. And he's gonna send it to all of his friends and to all his family.
Hey, well, they will have some people in Brazil now, man.
Oh,
Let's
100%.
go.
You guys are gonna have a lot of comments in Portuguese, no doubt.
All right. Favorite song you like to play when warming up or practicing or anything?
Yeah, it's called Loyal by Odessa.
Loyal by
It's
Odessa.
kind of like a warrior song.
Okay.
And yeah, that I kind of like
Get in
getting
the
on that
zone.
warrior zone.
Let's
kind
go.
of like battling till the end, never giving up.
Okay.
So I kind of enjoy that.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love
man.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Last fun one before we do people, places, and things. Advice you would give to a young athlete who wants to play soccer, football professionally like you?
Absolutely. Don't make the same mistake I did of giving up. Your dream will come true, and it's just really up to you. And I think we limit ourselves. We put barriers in that, and that's when we kind of like, give up or take steps back. Don't let it happen to you. If you have a dream, if you have a passion for something, just keep going. Your moment is going to come. I never thought that I was going to sign a professional contract at the age of 25, and it happened. So just keep going.
Beautiful, man.
Great,
Well
great,
said,
great,
man.
great,
Well
great.
said.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about how you're talking about late nights and what you used to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And every day you're a busy man, man. You're going here, there, just like your schedule, right? You gotta take off. And you're playing all weekend long. Do you have a go-to after-hours place that you want to go eat at?
Like after a game?
Yeah. Because you need to rebuild.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your go-to, man?
I will say I like going home. I really like going home. My wife usually, after she goes to every home game. She can never miss a game. Even if she's sick, she's going. She's like a huge Comets fan. And so after the game, I usually go and I sign autographs for everybody. I always go around and things like that, and then I take a shower. So it takes me a long time. So during that time, as soon as she leaves, she makes sure to stop by somewhere and grab us food. Yeah. And then if we have friends, she usually invites them over. And so because she knows that my head's gonna be spinning.
Yeah.
And so I the only thing I usually ask her is not getting things that are too greasy because I don't really enjoy it. So trying to keep it healthy as much as possible. Right. It doesn't always happen, right? Because there are some games that it's at 10:30 and you're going to eat, right? So then the only thing open
So
is
no
like
tacos?
yeah.
No-
Oh, I would love tacos. Yeah, I would love tacos. Yeah, that's definitely one of my go-tos. No, 100%.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
what's up, man.
Oh yeah,
Love
good,
that, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, last thing we do here, man, as we wrap up with you, Christian, we do this thing. Our podcast, Interrupt KC, People, Places, and Things. So what we do is we give you two options, this versus that. You got to pick one and maybe tell us why.
Okay. Yeah.
But before I let D-Rod go first, here's my first question I have for you. You drive around the city?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You're familiar with the city, in and out of Westport, everywhere. Worst intersection in Kansas City?
I would probably go with Paseo and Independence Boulevard.
Oh, yeah.
I would probably go with that one.
That's a
That's
tough
over
one.
over in Northeast area.
Yeah, Northeast.
Right,
Yeah, that's
over
right.
there.
That's right. That's right.
Pence Avenue.
Yeah,
and
because I
Paseo.
kind of live close to there, so I kind of drive by. So.
And that's yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there's a
pretty shitty
lot
over
going,
there.
and they like redid a bunch of stuff up there.
Yeah, they're
and-
trying to change some stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
but
Yeah, it was
still a little
wild.
chaotic.
Man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, D-Rod.
Okay, people, places, thing, man. That's what we do here, man. So I'm gonna give you some places. You
Okay.
pick which one, okay?
Okay.
Let's go with Oceans of Fun versus Worlds of Fun.
So I love warm weather, and so I would always pick warm weather, and therefore I would go with Oceans of Fun because it kind of brings me back to Brazil vibes, water, and
Right.
And he's a model and
Yeah.
stays in shade.
Yeah, he's in shade,
And
man. I mean,
he ain't like me. I'm like, man, any chance I have to keep my shirt on,
he's
I'm gonna
taking
do
his
that.
shirt off and stretching and
He's like,
giving
I'm gonna
directions
take
like
my
go over
shirt
there.
Nah,
All right, Oceans, man.
love that.
And I've been to both, and I love both. So
Oh
Yeah.
it's
You
a hard
do
decision,
you do
bro.
roller
but it's-
coasters?
I do it all. Yeah, I do it all.
man.
I love adventures.
Let's do a food spot.
Yeah.
The Peanut versus. Have you eaten at Westport Flea Market?
I have no idea.
Okay. What about Tanner's?
Tanners? No, I don't think so either.
Oh man,
I know.
I'm falling
But
off.
I've been to the Peanut.
The Peanut.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the Peanut's good.
Yeah.
It is. It's
Period.
really good. I would pick Peanut then.
Peanut's
Yeah,
easy.
the
Peanut's
Peanut's
easy.
easier.
Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go
man.
ahead.
Okay, let's do Westport versus the Crossroads.
Ooh. I think I would pick Crossroads. And I think mainly because of the art, and my wife is an artist, so I'm always trying to support art. And
Yeah.
I would go with Crossroads. I
Crossroads,
love Crossroads.
they've done incredible things down
Yes.
there, man, on the Crossroads.
Hey, but don't get me wrong, Westport is really fun too.
Oh, yeah,
I would just
yeah.
go to Crossroads mainly because of art, but otherwise, Westport is awesome.
Oh yeah, First
Yeah.
Fridays, man, they're gonna be jumping off, right?
Yes,
First
I'm
Fridays,
excited.
man. Yeah.
Do you go to like sports games and stuff?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
the Royals and Chiefs and everybody.
Yep, I
KC
go
Current. Okay.
And also because I do the Portuguese broadcast for the
Yes,
country.
which we didn't talk about.
Oh,
Tico
man.
Sports, right?
Tico Sports, that's
Yeah,
right.
Shout out Tico Sports.
To the whole team, Cici Rojas
Yeah.
and Oscar Monterroso.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all awesome.
That's awesome, man. All right, so let's do this. Power and Light experience live down there, having fun with everybody, or KC Current experience.
That's hard because if you talk about KC live when the Chiefs is on a Super Bowl night, it's hard to compete. But the Current is always really fun and
Yeah.
awesome. But I'll go with an average night of KC live because then I'll definitely pick KC Current,
KC Current.
and it's mainly because I think they do such a great job with the atmosphere and the games, and their players are awesome.
Yeah.
This last game, the very first game, they just won 3-1. That being scored, and I have friends there too, and I support the Brazilians there. Lorena, that being Bia Zanerato, right? So I'll pick the Current. It's
Okay.
it's quite a vibe there.
Let's go.
All right, I'm gonna do a barbecue place, man.
Ooh, yes,
All right.
I'm ready.
So here we go. I'm gonna pick which one you pick.
Okay.
KC Joe's Barbecue versus Gates Barbecue.
Ooh. Oh. You know what? I will pick Joe's Barbecue. And main reason why I picked Joe's Barbecue is my family, they are a huge fan of Joe's Barbecue. And I think it's because of the idea of the gas station.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and also the way that they cook the meat. But the Gates is not even a step behind. It's just, I think more of a personal preference.
Right. What do you order at Joe's?
What I like to order at Joe's is the full slab. I love this slab that they have. The ribs are awesome.
I'm with you, brother. That's what I get all the time.
Exactly. I like the onion rings too.
Ribs never disappoint.
Ribs never disappoint. I agree.
Shout out Joe's, man.
Yes.
All right. Tell us you're from KC without telling us you're from KC.
Ooh. I wonder how I can, there's so many ways of doing that. Should I take them places or should I just,
whatever you, man. You do you.
Yeah, because I was going to say what we're currently talking about, just like wearing one of our teams.
Yeah.
I think that's a signature. And the main reason I say that is I recently went to Sweden. I think it was 2 years ago. And I saw people with the Kansas City Chiefs,
really?
hoodies there. And I'm like, whoa, in Gothenburg, Sweden, I see them here. And it was funny because when I went to Rio de Janeiro with my wife, we also saw, the Chiefs hoodies. So I'll definitely go with the sports town, just the clothes. You can know if somebody's from KC because they will be wearing,
Yes, sir, man.
the gear.
Appreciate that, man.
All right, last one I got for you, man. I think I know which one you're going to say here, but I love asking people this, all right?
Absolutely.
KC winter versus KC summer.
Oh, my God. Summer all day long.
So these winters be killing you, huh?
Oh, my God. The only reason why I think winter turned to be not as bad is because I'm in season. So then I'm enjoying because then I'm playing and things like that. Otherwise, I think I would be like struggling with the caps ass to the end. Jeez, man. Tough. It's tough.
It's pretty brutal, man. It's pretty brutal.
It is brutal.
That's why I ask everybody. Cause hey, man.
Listen, man, Christian, man, we appreciate you so much, brother.
Yes,
thank you for your
guys.
time tonight,
Absolutely.
man. Thank you for,
Of course.
Everything you're doing in the city, man, representing Kansas City, representing Brazilians, all across the world, man. Keep up the good work, bro.
All the work you're doing, man, for the youth,
Yeah.
and training, just everything, man. What
Thank
you
you.
represent, man, here for our city, for your city, man, it's phenomenal, man.
In
Thank you.
Portuguese, real quick,
Yes.
tell everybody to tune in to Enterrupt KC.
Absolutely. Galerinha aí de casa, curte, comenta e segue a galerinha aqui do Enterrupt KC porque eles merecem, eles são top.
Hey!
Salute.
Before we say salute, man.
Salute,
Salute, man.
Vamos.
Before we cut out of here, man, is there anything you would like to express, say, comment on to people before we let you go?
Absolutely. No, I actually would love to thank my wife for, connecting us because that's how we actually got to meet each other. Shout out to Café Corazon that, brings us a little bit of that Latin and indigenous roots as well,
sir.
the taste, the traditions. But no, I just really want to thank you guys for, opening the doors, not just to me, but to the entire community. The mission behind what you guys are doing is beautiful and it's awesome. And I think we need people like you guys that are, supporting every type of people, right? The good people that are trying to, not just reach their own success, but help others achieve that. And I think you guys give everybody the voice to do that. So thank you guys for doing that.
Thank you, man.
Love that,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
man,
much.
for that,
Yeah,
man.
man.
And right back at you, Christian. Yo, with that, man, everybody, check out our boy Christian Anderaos, man. KC Comets.
Yes.
Playmaker Academy.
Yes.
Go check this dude out, man. He is doing big things,
Oh,
D-Rod.
yeah, man. Yeah.
Great conversation, everybody. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Enterrupt KC, JL.
D-Rod.
You already know what it is, everybody. Peace.
Thank you, everybody.